3 shocking sexual practices in Africa. Imagine a land where the sun dips into the horizon and paints the sky with hues of crimson and gold, where the air is sweet with the scent of blooming acacia trees, and where the rhythms of life are as vibrant as the colors of the savannah. Welcome to Africa, a continent of breathtaking beauty, rich cultural heritage, and incredible diversity. Africa, the cradle of humanity, where the rhythms of life are as vibrant as the colors of the savannah. This vast and fascinating continent is home to 55 countries, each with its unique flavor, history, and culture. Africa is the second largest continent, covering about 30 million square kilometers. The continent has rich cultural heritage, with over 2,000 languages spoken across the continent. Africa's diverse cultures and traditions have given birth to some of the most shocking sexual practices in the world. Here are some of such practices. 1. Child marriage is a pervasive issue in Africa, with the continent having one of the highest rates of child marriage globally. According to UNICEF, 6 of the world's 10 countries with the highest rates of child marriage are in West and Central Africa, with more than half of girls in these countries marrying before the age of 18. In sub-Saharan Africa, 31% of women had given birth by age 18, with the majority of these births occurring within marriage. Child marriage denies girls their right to education, healthcare, and security, and increases their risk of sexual violence, HIV infection, and maternal death. Girls who marry young are often forced to drop out of school, limiting their future economic and social potential. Poverty, gender inequality, and lack of access to education are major drivers of child marriage in Africa. In some communities, child marriage is seen as a way to build family and communal ties, relieve household poverty, or avoid shame and stigma associated with pregnancy outside of marriage. Limited knowledge and enforcement of laws against child marriage also contribute to its persistence. Organizations like UNICEF, UNFPA, and Girls Not Brides are working to end child marriage in Africa through awareness raising, community engagement, and support for girls' education and empowerment. Governments and civil society partners are also working to develop and implement laws and policies to prevent child marriage and protect girls' rights too. Virginity testing, also known as virginity examination or hymen examination, is a practice where a person, usually a woman or girl, is subjected to a physical examination to determine whether they are virgins. This practice is widely considered to be a violation of human rights and is discriminatory against women. Virginity testing is practiced in several African countries, including South Africa. Although outlawed in 2013, virginity testing is still practiced in some communities. Virginity testing has been used as a means of controlling women's sexuality and has been practiced on female protesters. In Egypt, virginity testing is sometimes performed on women who are suspected of having premarital sex. In Morocco, in Nigeria, virginity testing is practiced in some communities, particularly in the northern regions. The reasons for virginity testing vary, but some of the most common reasons are that virginity testing is often seen as a way to preserve traditional values and cultural norms. Virginity testing is sometimes used to ensure that a woman's family honor is preserved. Virginity testing is often performed before marriage to ensure that the bride is a virgin. 3. Sexual violence. Sexual violence is a pervasive and complex issue in Africa, affecting millions of people, particularly women and girls. Some forms of sexual violence in Africa include rape, which is widespread and often used as a weapon of war. Rape is a significant concern in many African countries. Child sexual abuse. Many African countries struggle with high rates of child sexual abuse, often perpetrated by family members or community leaders. Female genital mutilation is a form of sexual violence that involves the partial or total removal of the female genitalia. Sexual exploitation. Women and girls are often exploited for sex in exchange for basic necessities like food, shelter, or education. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 African women experience sexual violence. Survivors of sexual violence often suffer from physical injuries, emotional trauma, and long-term psychological damage. Survivors may face stigma, social exclusion, and even blame for the violence they experienced. Many survivors of sexual violence in Africa face significant barriers in accessing justice, including lack of reporting mechanisms, inadequate laws, and corrupt justice systems. Many African societies are patriarchal, perpetuating inequality and violence against women and girls. Conflict and war create an environment conducive to sexual violence, with women and girls often being targeted. Poverty and lack of education can increase vulnerability to sexual violence. Certain cultural and traditional practices, such as FGM, can perpetuate sexual violence. Many African countries are strengthening their laws and policies to prevent and respond to sexual violence. As we conclude our journey through the complex and fascinating world of African sexual practices, we are reminded that human sexuality is a rich tapestry woven from diverse threads of culture, tradition, and personal experience. Africa's sexual practices, though sometimes controversial, offer a unique window into the continent's rich cultural heritage and its people's resilience, adaptability, and creativity. By embracing our differences and engaging in open, respectful dialogue, we can work towards a future where all individuals, regardless of their cultural background or sexual orientation, can express themselves freely and live their lives with dignity and respect. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more.